Most manufacturers and veterinaries emphasize how important UVB is for reptiles. While this is not wrong, the very important UVA radiation often is neglected. UVC is dangerous and does not exist in natural sunlight. However, special UVC lamps are offered, for example for ponds. These must not be used in vivariums. More interesting and important is the UVB radiation, is defined by the wavelength between 280 and 315 nanometers. UVB allows vertebrate animals to synthesize vitamin D3. This is very important for healthy bones, as without vitamin D3, calcium cannot be utilized. The bones will get soft and thin, and metabolic bone diseases can occur. It is useful to know that the vitamin D3 synthesis through UVB radiation is not only a biological process of reptiles. Birds and mammals and also humans can produce vitamin D3 with the help of UV light. However, with reptiles the focus is often put on UVB because due to their physiology, reptiles are more vulnerable to metabolic bone diseases than humans. Reptiles are poikilothermal and their body temperature is affected by their surroundings. Unlike birds and mammals, they do not need the energy from food to maintain their body temperature, but translate most of the food into growth. If their food supply is large, as is often the case in captivity, reptiles will grow extremely fast and are therefore more vulnerable to metabolic bone diseases, as the bone growth has to keep up with the total growth of the reptile. Often, reptiles cannot get enough vitamin D3 through their diet. UVB radiation has the big advantage that it allows the animals to generate their own vitamin D3 and control its supply in their body. However, it is important that they ingest sufficient quantities of calcium with their diet. Without calcium, UV radiation is useless, as the reptile has nothing it could store in its bones. Therefore, please do also consider the chapter Food with important information on this topic. Unfortunately, another part of the UV spectrum, the UVA, is rarely considered, as most people put their focus on UVB to prevent metabolic bone diseases. The UVA, which corresponds to the wavelengths of 315 to 400 nanometers, has a very important influence on reptiles. Unlike humans, reptiles can see in the UVA spectrum, and the lack of UVA radiation in reptile lighting will mean that the animals will be partially colorblind. Imagine if you could not see a certain color. The world will look completely different. If the UV radiation is missing or inadequate, this will cause a lot of stress for reptiles, and experience has shown that lamps with high UVA output are beneficial for the well-being of the animals, as UVA also plays an important part in inter-species communication and mating. It is therefore important that reptile lamps offer a spectrum that is as close to natural sunlight as possible. In any case, the UVA content should be higher than the UVB content. Fluorescent tubes usually have a proportionally too high UVB content to the disadvantage of the UVA content, which is usually only 3 to 4 times higher than the UVB radiation of the lamp. Natural sunlight has UVA content, which is 20 times higher than UVB. You will see a difference in the behavior of the animals. In addition, you have to know that the vitamin D3 synthesis through UVB is working best in the wavelengths between 290 and 305 nanometers. Most manufacturers conceal this fact, as it is very difficult to reproduce these wavelengths in artificial lighting. A lamp with high UVB output might actually not have the right wavelengths and only have little effect on the vitamin D3 synthesis. For the consumer, it is very difficult to distinguish good and bad lamps when it comes to UVB. Measurement devices are expensive, and one device on its own also does not produce usable results. Buying a UV lamp therefore involves a lot of trust, and the more data a manufacturer provides, the better you can judge if the lamp is suitable. A spectral analysis is most significant to benchmark lamp quality. For doing a spectral analysis, a spectrometer is necessary, which will record the energy intensity of every single wavelength and display it as a curve. The higher the amplitude of the curve, the higher the radiation in this area. In a spectral analysis, you can see if and how much UVB radiation in the D3 relevant wavelengths between 290 and 305 nanometers is existent. The displayed curve shows a sensible and well-balanced spectrum. It is also important that there is not too much radiation below 290 nanometers, and the UVB radiation as a whole is not too high, as large amounts of UVB can be harmful. A UVB percentage, as used by several manufacturers in their marketing, is inadequate to judge the quality of the lamp, as it tells nothing at all about the existent wavelengths. It is not possible to compare different lamp types and wattages based only on the UVB percentage, as this offers no reference to the lamp wattage and the illuminated surface. A 2% lamp with 100 watts covering an area of 1 square meter will deliver more UVB to the animals than a 10% lamp with 20 watts that covers an area of 2 square meters. While the UVB wattage is the same with 2 watts, the 20-watt lamp distributes the UVB over a larger area, reducing the local effectiveness. A spot lamp with 50 watts will always provide more UVB locally as a 15-watt fluorescent tube that diffuses the UVB over a larger area. You have to know that the amount of UV reaching the animal is also very dependent on the distance between lamp and animal. The farther away, the lower the UV. At 30 centimeters, the UVB is only half, and at 50 centimeters, even only a quarter of the level at 20 centimeters distance. Sincere manufacturers therefore advise on minimum and maximum distances in order to enable you to provide your animals with the right amount of UV and prevent it from being too little or too much. Lucky Reptile is offering you an extra service for free with the UV calculator, which you can download from www.luckyreptile.com. The UV calculator allows you to calculate the UVB performance in relation to the distance. Most manufacturers today provide UV performance values in microwatt centimeters squared. You can also measure the UVB yourself by using measurement devices like the Solartech 6.2, which is used by several retailers and vets. However, these are broadband measurement devices